You're tuning into Legitimate Trickster here on Monster Hunter World. If you watched my first video of this installment, welcome back on the adventures of me and Christmas slaying monsters. This is a special arena that you gain access to once you capture monsters. Now, the only reason I recorded this is because there are aids placed around this map that make your hunt go a lot faster, because you can deal massive amounts of damage if you use the tools properly. And this does give away one of the later monsters in the game, but it's still not too much of a spoiler alert, just because of the fact that there is still the DLC, which is the Iceborne for this game, which gives you access to a plethora of different monsters. I just want to show you as much as I can without giving too much away, to let you know that this game has a ton to offer. It has almost unlimited customization options for armor, weapon, resistances, damage type, and the same goes for your companion. You can customize them almost to the T as far as detail and how you want their armor set up, their resistances. And as you see here, there's just all these weapons laid around this arena, and at this point I'm actually further behind than I was at the first video I showed you, so my damage deals less. And that just goes back to what I was saying about each hunt should be looked at as an adventure. You can't just necessarily breeze through this game and say, I'm going to have the highest damage output and sacrifice my resistance for it because I know how to play games where I avoid damage, and I'll just mop the floor with these monsters. It will not happen. I promise you that. But once you come to terms with that and accept that this is quite the commitment for time when you start hunting these monsters, that it's actually pretty enjoyable. Now, you can get burnt out easily if you try to put in too much time at once after you've put in, a considerable amount of time as it is. But that's still not a deterrent to continue playing, because there's always more things to do, and it might seem repetitive for a little while, but then once you get further down and you start getting into the real deep story, they'll throw some things at you that you're like, wow, this just rekindled my appreciation for it. But you're gonna see I don't follow any sort of a specific trend for my armor, so my guy always looks a little crazy, kind of like the kid from Big Daddy who dresses himself how he chooses, wears a raincoat with boots and wet hat and oven mitts and whatever. But just don't look too much into that, because it does take a little more finesse to find what's comfortable for you and your gameplay style. Again, I chose the insect glaive for my weapon, and it did take me a while to fully understand how to use it, because the beetle on your arm isn't just like a ranged attack. It actually buffs you depending on where you've struck the monster with it, and then you absorb whatever it is once you call the beetle back to you. So that's just a little helpful tip for my insect glavers out there. As I mentioned before, there's a ton of different weapon variants, and each one has a crazy number of weapon trees that you can upgrade by using monster parts and other materials you gather from each one of the locations in this map. I won't give away too much as far as that. So far, I've just shown the forest, and this is the special arena that you get once you capture your first monster. Now, you do get all of the things that come with a regular hunt in this arena, so it doesn't cheat you there. And let's see what else. Like I said, you've got traps to use at your disposal. There is a cooldown time, obviously. You can use the cannons continuously, but the monsters can destroy them. So if you're trying to load in the middle of fighting the monster and it chases you up there and doesn't attack, it's likely to destroy the cannon. Plus, it's hard to get the monster to stand still after you've initially started the hunt. I think this is a Legiana, but it's not too difficult, this one. There are a few monsters where it's just like, it's bordering on that rage, wanting to chuck my controller into the TV mentality, but just go back to what I said before. Calm down, regroup, and change your armor setup, change your weapon type, your element type. One thing I have learned about just sticking to one weapon is that it does make the gaming a little more challenging, but I'm okay with that because I feel comfortable with the way the insect glaive works and how it looks. And I'm not bragging here, but I haven't not been able to finish a hunt or a capture, and that includes the multiple monster hunts where you have to hunt more than one monster in a set number of time. So you can choose so many different ways to play this game. You can bring more than one weapon with you, so that depending on what your situation is, or what monster you're hunting, or how many, or if you're just like getting used to the game, you want to dabble in a few of them at the same time, there is the flexibility to do that, which is really nice. And they actually have a loadout setting where you can save your loadouts, and I know that's a big thing with a lot of gamers. I actually appreciate it in this game because there's so much available to you as far as armor sets and weapons, as I've stated, and it would just be a headache if they didn't have that. But I can honestly say, aside from that one trophy where it's hunt 500 monsters, there isn't really much to say negatively towards this game, other than when I first heard about it, it was depicted as a Destiny 2 with a furry companion, which is your cat. But definitely not the feel I get from the game. There are, like I said, there are some very few Destiny 2 elements, but majority, it feels like this is Dynasty Warriors meets Soul Calibur with a splash of Shadow of the Colossus, just because of the mounting abilities for the monsters and all that stuff. But I get the vibes from Soul Calibur with the music, with the cartoony sort of adaptation of the game, and Dynasty Warrior with the combat style and the maps and the just overall setup of each sort of board. But this is just the wrap-up menu here, guys. If you stuck with me through this, as always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out my channel, like, share, subscribe, and that's all, folks.